Hey guys, in this week's video, I'm gonna share with you a carb that I always have in my fridge. I love brown rice. It's so easy to make. It's so easy to reheat. I add it to so many dishes, and it makes just a really great base. Over the years, I've had these awesome opportunities to meet with doctors and nutritionists and all these specialists in the world of health and wellness. And one thing that's a constant is brown rice versus white rice. It's usually because the bran and the germ is actually taken out of the rice to make it white rice. So it goes through a process. So a lot of these experts actually put it up on the chart with like white sugar and white flour, which is usually something you want to avoid to have kind of a healthier, leaner lifestyle. This is a brand that I really like. This is Lundberg short grain brown rice. The other thing too is I'm gluten-free. So all rice is gluten-free, and I like brown rice because of the reasons that I just explained. Also, it's a whole grain, so it also takes longer, there's more nutrients, and it takes longer for your body to digest it. So it helps you kind of stay satiated for longer, which is another reason why I like it. This brown rice is actually biodynamic. Biodynamic is essentially, it's a farming practice that was, I don't know if you guys ever heard of this guy named Rudolf Steiner. He created it, and basically it's like how the crops are grown and the farm, it's all like self-sustainable, and it's a wonderful way of farming, and it's all organic. It's never been tainted with pesticides and herbicides and any of that stuff. So I usually like to try to get biodynamic if you can. If not, again, always organic, so it doesn't have the sprays and the bad stuff on it, because then obviously we're gonna be ingesting that stuff. We don't wanna do that. So let me show you how I make it, because it's super easy and it's super durable, and having this in the fridge is so great to just throw into meals. Okay, cool. So honestly, whatever kind you get, just read on the side like how it's done. I mean, this one I know you do like, 1 cup, and then I do 2 cups of, I do a cup of broth and a cup of water, but just read on the side. So for me, 1 cup is usually great to have in the fridge for a few days, and then you kind of add it to different meals. So let's do that. So let's do 1 cup of rice, right? And then this is my homemade chicken broth. I'll also make rice with beef broth too, but the chicken broth just gives it a really nice flavor. I mean, I cook a ton with beef broth, but that's usually I usually tend to do that when I'm cooking more, like if I'm making a steak or burgers and things like that. But when I'm using this for different soups and cooking my grains in it, I usually use chicken broth. Okay, great. So what I'll do is, for 1 cup of rice, I'll usually do 2 cups of liquid. So we'll do 1 cup of broth for the nutrients and the flavor, and then I'll do a cup of water as well. Okay, cool. So now we're gonna put this on the stove and we're gonna bring it to a boil. Okay, cool. So once it gets to a boil, you wanna turn it down on low. You just kind of want it to simmer. And then you wanna put the lid on. I always, because of cooking at home and I cook so much oatmeal and I prepare all these grains ahead of time, I'm just into a habit of I always leave a little crack. I never put the lid fully on. I always leave a little opening so the air can escape, so it doesn't overflow and the water gets all over your stove, which has happened to me many times over the years. So I always just leave a little tiny crack like that until it's pretty much done cooking, and then maybe the last 5 minutes, I'll put the lid fully on. But for right now, I leave it just like that, cooking on low. Usually this will cook for about half an hour. But what I'll do is I'll actually check it in about 20 minutes to see, because sometimes depending on how your stove works and how quickly it cooks, sometimes you have to add a little bit more fluid if the rice sucks it up quickly. So I'm gonna set a timer and check it in about 20 minutes. So the timer just went off. We're gonna take a peek at our rice. It's been 20 minutes. Okay, great. So because I've cooked this so many times, I know that I need to add a little bit of liquid because the rice is still pretty hard. So we want to add more liquid so it can cook for probably another 10 minutes. So all I'm going to do is hold this under the sink faucet and just add a little bit of water. Yeah, that'll be good. So now we're gonna let that, we're gonna cover it again, a little crack, and let it sit, and we're gonna set a timer for about 10 minutes, and then we'll take another peek at it. Because you don't want it to cook too much, because then if it sticks to the bottom of the pot, you're in a bad way. We do not want that to happen. So let's take a peek at it in 10 minutes and see what's happening. So it's been about 10 minutes. As I mentioned earlier, at the end of the rice cooking, I like to just put the lid on fully so all the liquid really absorbs into the rice. So we did that, and now we're gonna take a look. And I can already tell it's cooked, but see how all the liquid is gone. So the rice sucked all that up. I love rice cooked in broth. It's like one of my favorite things. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll put it right into a storage container because this is gonna go into my fridge. Okay, so here is your organic brown rice cooked in chicken broth. I love this stuff because you can add it to soups, you can add it to salads. When I was a vegan, I actually would make a lot of salads with gluten-free grains in them. And this is one that I used a lot and I still use all the time. You can put it into a stir fry. If you make a stir fry with a bunch of prepped vegetables that you have, that's something that I also do all the time. So here you go, your prepped brown rice that's ready to get put into your meals. So I hope you guys liked the video. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you know whenever I put up a new video. Thanks, guys.